Do you want incredible looking live streams with 4K video without having to use a capture card at all? Well, stick around. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. Cool. Later, but I think you guys got us in there. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jacob. I am currently trying to make 365 videos in 365 days. So make sure to check out the whole channel. Got a lot of cool stuff already. Stuff about food, stuff about coffee, stuff about business, stuff about weed. And we're gonna be talking about cameras today. So what camera do I think is the best bang for buck, best value camera right now? Well, I'm super biased because it's one of the first cameras I owned and I'm absolutely still in love with it to this day. And that is actually the GH5. Now, part of the reason for this is the fact that Lumix, which is kind of like the sub company of Panasonic that makes all the cameras, it gets a little confusing, but they are very, very forward thinking. And one of the tools that they have developed over the last couple of years, and it's really coming into its own, is their tether tools. There's a couple of different versions of it, but essentially what it allows you to do is connect your camera directly to your computer for streaming, webcam purposes. And on top of all of that, if that wasn't enough, it allows you to control absolutely everything within the camera. So you can change things like aperture, you can change things like exposure, your shooting mode, your focus, everything. If you've got any lens that has autofocus on it, or at least an electronic focus motor, you can set your focus with it, can do white balance. There's just so many different things that you can do with this camera. Plus, with some relatively cheap adapters, I think this one cost me around 200 bucks, you can mount almost any lens to it, which is incredible. Not only that, this thing is an absolute monster when it comes to video. I mean, 4K, it's, I believe, 420 10-bit video. For something, I mean, these on the used market are less than $2,000. That usually comes with a kit lens. Plus, it being a micro 4/3 sensor, that means you get lenses like this. Look how tiny this is. This is a 14-45, and in comparison, this is a Canon, what is a 17-40. Look at the size difference. Now, obviously, you're gonna have two very different pictures in it, but for somebody who's looking to vlog or just have something small to carry around with them, this is so much better than carrying around this monster lens. I'm telling you right now, as somebody who has done, I mean, probably over 100 videos on this camera, it is phenomenal. Now, a quick word of warning here. The autofocus on this camera is not stellar by any means. This is definitely a set your focus and kind of forget it. It is definitely usable in a lot of cases, but it is not something that you want to rely on in every case. But the main reason I wanted to talk about it today is kind of going back to these tether tools because they are absolutely incredible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up part of it right now and show you how powerful this tool is. Okay, so right now what you can see is a live view of this camera feed right now. Now this is a raw view, as you can tell by the color that's on it. This is in Vlog, which is kind of a flat color profile, but you can see here that it's pretty quick. Now, as I'm recording, things slow down a little bit, but you're still able to understand what is happening on screen. Plus, I get these fun controls as well. So as you can see with these controls, I'm able to change a lot of things. So let's apologize here. Let's crank up the ISO. So there we go. Image is a little blown out. We'll bring it back down. Right now, I'm utilizing this with my S1H just so I can keep my GH5 here on the table for demonstration purposes. But either way, you can understand that these tools do work well. The other big benefit to this is that you don't need a capture card. The software allows your computer to see this as a camera, which means that you can save a bunch of money on buying a capture card. And the quality is just incredible. Same thing here, we can go through and change any of our color profiles. So now we're at vivid, which is a lot. So let's take that back down to Vlog. There you go. So you can see that there's lots and lots of different options here. It's absolutely phenomenal. Same thing if we want to stop this bad boy down. We're at 4.6. We can go all the way down to, what are we at? F22, a little dark. God, I can't wait to color grade all this. But you can see here that we're able to stop down through almost all of our options. We're also able to do auto exposure if that's something we want to do. We can set our white balance as well, which is somewhere around here. We can change our metering mode. Lots and lots of different things we can do. Plus we have all these tools here, which is one-shot autofocus. We've got a level gauge. We want to check our camera settings, can turn on a grid, can turn on center line. We can do an overlay if that's something that you need to do. I'm not sure why you would. Maybe you've got some sort of frame you're trying to match shots. Plus, like I said before, you're able to change your focus. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but we are actually pulling a little bit of focus right now. It's definitely a very step increment, and that part is fantastic. Now, it does have another trick up its sleeve for those people who are super hardcore into streaming. So if you can bear with me 1 second as I get this cable out. Essentially, because this is just taking the raw data feed in from the computer, it's a lot more powerful than just a normal webcam. And obviously, as you can see, it looks pretty good too. So right now I'm shooting this in 6K. I'm not gonna lie, bit of a flex. The S1H does allow me to shoot in 6K, but let's take another USB-C cable and let's plug it into, we'll plug this into my GH5. So like I said, I've got my S1H hanging out over there. I got my GH5 here. Now what happens is you plug it in, and then I don't know if you guys can see this, but essentially you get the option to PC tether. As you can hear by all the boops and beeps, my computer recognized it almost instantly. So now what we'll do is, let's go up here on our screen to camera, and we'll bring this bad boy over, and we'll get it to update. And just like that, my GH5 now appears. And if you're ready for it, it will take a second. It's not super snappy, but now we have a live feed from my GH5. Pretty damn sweet. And the nice thing is all of our stuff like autofocus works just the same with this one. So if you wanted to have, oh man, this is going to be super interesting. So if you wanted to have 2 different cameras running for your live stream and be able to set both of them and check focus on both of them, this is a great way to do it. Some serious inception going on. So as you can see, this is an absolutely incredible and super powerful tool. This is also good for doing things like tethered shoots. If you're a photographer, you can tether over to it. But for me, and the main thing that I look at is utilizing this for live streams and using this for meetings. I'm somebody who's in web meetings, anywhere from 2 to 8 hours a day. Today was one of those 8-hour days, unfortunately. And I am able to sit down, basically have the camera running almost full time, because one of the other benefits with it is that your camera can charge through that USB-C port. So you can do things like run a dummy battery. You can just have this USB-C port in if you're kind of on and off, because it'll charge the battery in between. So obviously it is a fantastic setup. And like I said, when you're in a Zoom meeting and it looks like this, people are immediately just kind of like, how does your webcam look like that? And then you can explain to them, hey, I'm using, a Panasonic GH5 or S1H or whatever it is that you want. So that is why I personally think that a GH5 is the absolute best camera if you are going to be live streaming. I still think it's just generally the best camera per dollar that is on the market right now, with things like incredibly high frame rates, really, really cool color accuracy, just stuff like that. And if you want me to get more in depth about some of the amazing features that are within the GH5 in particular, let me know, leave a comment down below and I will definitely do that. But overall, especially if you are doing any streaming, if you're doing any web or meetings or anything like that, the Panasonic GH5, or in this case, the S1H, and I believe the S5 does it as well, and just the S1, the Lumix lineup does this, paired with their tethering software, is just absolutely incredible. And it really is the best way right now to utilize a webcam. I don't know how much more I need to get into this, because I think I've covered most of it. Oh, there is one thing that I completely forgot about, and I'm just about to do it. And